Hello everybody, I'm Ard. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. This week, we are not going to be building a roof on the house. Yep, I'm not ready for more scut work right now. I don't know about you guys. Instead, I'd rather go make some progress. You know, I figured we'd try to actually push all the way up to Mechanism today, just because that actually opens up a humongous number of gates. We probably don't have enough power to really run the Metallurgic Infuser, but it will at least make things easier for us to do in the future and open up a whole bunch of like minor updates we can do and open up a whole bunch of things we can actually access from the future. But first, let's go take a look at what we changed in the base between the episodes and maybe go commit a few crimes against nature. How does that sound? Yeah? Yeah, I thought so. So in between episodes, I went and explored the Nether a little bit more to go find another Nether fortress that was hopefully a little bit bigger. I did find some treasure chests in there, and that was great and all, but like I didn't find anything all that exciting in there. But what I did remember was in there are these slime islands inside the Nether, in little lava islands that have these trees growing on them with magma, with slime saplings basically. So if you grow them on slime dirt and just chop them down, whoops, you'll see that yep, they drop a sapling. And you have to grow them on magma slimy grass to make them grow. You can't grow them on normal grass. But what they drop are these congealed slime blocks, which you can then break back down into slime balls. So that solves my slime issues for the time being. I'll probably automate growing these later. But this will keep me going for quite a while, and then I don't even have to use the cube that I was so excited about finding last episode in the dungeon. That still might serve purposes later, but for now I just don't care that much. I could just have easily gotten these off of one of the slime islands in the sky, but there's none right here, and I just forgot about it until I saw them in the Nether. That's just the way these things go. In between the episodes, I did a little more exploring the overworld, and I went and found some more villagers, because, you know, I had to do some enslaving to go get some more villagers. In the process, I did find another dungeon, and I went and explored it, and I did film it and record it, but it turned out to be even more disappointing. This one was big, but the loot was just horrible, and it was just a nice claustrophobic waste of time. That said, the whole reason I needed to go get the villagers is because I needed emeralds, because I needed to make a market, because I needed something specific. To make the market, all you do is just put some wood and some wool around an emerald, and it makes this market, and it creates this guy who will trade you seeds for emeralds, and trees for emeralds, and spawn eggs for emeralds. Now, what I wanted the spawn eggs for specifically is I have not been able to find a vanilla cow this whole time. I just haven't seen them. Animania ones spawn all over. Sheep, normal ones spawn all over. Chickens, normal ones spawn all over. But normal cows, I haven't seen a single one. So we're going to buy a spawn egg. And now, what do we want with this cow, pray hell? Do we want milk? Well, sorta. But, you know, not necessarily the traditional way. So let's start by going to go to Golden Lasso real fast because I need one for this plan, and I forgot to grab one earlier. Okay, back up. So what we're going to go do is we're going to go take the cow and, you know, put him down in this hole because that's where cows belong, right? And then we're going to take this bucket that I also conveniently forgot and had to run back inside real fast to get and milk said cow. We're going to pick the cow back up because this isn't quite what we're done yet. We're going to take that and then we're going to make a milk jar, which sounds innocuous enough, right? Provides milk for recipes. Just takes milk, yeah? So we'll make one of those. And then we're going to put that in the hole. And we're going to put the cow back in the hole. You know, going to milk him in the jar, right? Completely innocuous. Just ignore this anvil that I'm putting right there. And now we have a cow in the jar instead. So, why did we want to put a cow in the jar, you might be asking yourself? Well, come with me into the kitchen if you... You see, the cow is part of the cooking with Blockheads setup. And you put it on the counter, and it generates milk constantly, which feeds into the cooking table and lets me use milk for all those recipes. And the fun part is, you can totally use the time in the jar for it to get it up, because you need 1,000 to be able to use it. So we'll come in here, let's find, I don't know, what looks yummy? Oh, a chocolate milkshake. Fantastic. chocolate milkshake. Aw, yeah. So that's why we stuck our cow in the jar. It might seem a little inhumane, but I quite assure you he's happier than the other pets that I keep around, like the villagers that got eaten by zombies, or my sheep that keep escaping outside to the point where I had to build the pen taller because they were getting over the edges. So, yeah, I lost a couple. I don't even know where they went. I went looking for them. They're missing. Two of the animating ones specifically. The rest are whatever, but those are the ones I'm going to have to go find more ewes for. So that's not great. So now that we've got this episode's complete and utter silliness out of the way, let's show you some of the other things that changed. So back down here, you can see I put the Obsidian generator back in. I have it attached to the Ender tank. I just created another one so I wouldn't have to run pipes all the way around the corner to where it is. And it's constantly generating Obsidian right now, and it's dumping it into another controller slave that I created, where it's dumping it into a chest down in the basement. But what's also coming out here is I'm pulling seeds out into a squeezer. And you can see that it's pulling currently canola and beetroot seeds, and it's just constantly processing them into seed oil. And we're doing that. So that we can make more easily make impregnated casings or impregnated sticks just on demand. We always have a stock of it. Also, the Obsidian generator, once this box completely fills up, it'll basically stop generating or stop using up the lava. I'll probably have to move the lava pump at some point because I guarantee that this alone will probably eat up all of what's in our stock. But once we have this in place, we'll never have to worry about Obsidian ever again. Right now I probably have more than I really realistically need anytime soon. But this way we don't have to manually create it, and it makes it a lot easier to work with. So now that we've got this out of the way, let's talk about some of our future plans. So as I said, I wanted to make the Metallurgic Infuser for Mekanism, which is actually really easily attainable at this point for us. The two main things we need that we don't easily have are the steel casing and the external heater. And the steel casing, well, we know what reinforced blast block bricks are. I have a bunch of osmium from mining, so it's really these two steel mechanical components, which are just steel plates and copper. Or if I build the engineer's workbench and have the blueprint, it's just two steel and a copper. So we just basically need to build the engineer's workbench, which is very, very easily attainable for us at this point. We probably should get around to doing that because that's just treated wood. So we probably will do that in a second. The other things I wanted to do in the future, the alternate path to doing some of the stuff I wanted to do would have been the atomic reconstructor, which I'm going to need to do at some point, but this path's a little deeper because this requires electron tubes, which requires the thermodynamic fabricator, which we do want to make, but I think I'm going to just jump the other way to do the metallurgic infuser instead. But this is the other path up to this. And then the things we want to do, we still want to make a compression dynamo, which its main purpose is to consume I've got to find the right page, but the creosote that we've been making, so that I can use up all of the excess one to just create some power. I don't really care about the power use so much as just emptying this tank periodically so we can keep making coal and coke. That's the main reason. I could make this bigger, but I would have to upgrade it or build a bigger tank somewhere. Or maybe I can make drums now. I'd have to go look. The drum might actually be the better solution in the short term. But the reality is I would just rather be creating power from it, which is probably the more reasonable solution. So we want to make one of those. I want to make culinary generators, which eat food to generate power to start using up some of the stuff that's coming out of our box of food over here. And then the other thing I was looking into was the villager trade exchanger, which is once we can make the machine casing, which isn't that hard, it's all stuff we can pretty much make now. It uses power to automate trades. You basically toss a villager into one of the mob imprisonment type tools, and you put that inside that machine, and then they will just automatically trade stuff over time, like periodical, like, hey, take some beetroots and give me an emerald, and take some beetroots and give me an emerald, and take some beetroots and give me an emerald, just to automate emerald production. I think I want to make a bunch of them, like to use up all of the druids that I got, and then, I don't know, maybe a few other things, we'll see. But there's a couple interesting things you can do with that. So not only will I make emeralds, which are good for the compact machines, but what's it called? It's the lapidary calibration for the numismatic dynamo. We can feed emeralds into another power source. There's another popular streamer out there, Iskall and Ethos, that basically did that in their series, which is one of the main ways they got power. I've never really bothered doing that. I mostly just use intervals to make comeback machines and a few other things, but we might do it in this one just because it's an interesting source of power that's different. And I have some coins sitting in one of these boxes that I need to eat up anyways, so basically for free power. So we might get around to doing that too, but probably not today. But our main goal for today is to get the Metallurgic Infuser made. So let's start by making the engineer's workbench real fast. Let me go get the parts. Alright, so now we've got the parts to make the table, so let's go do that real fast. Slam that in there. Nothing complicated, nothing special. The main reason we wanted to do that was so that we can do the steel mechanical components real easily, which requires this specific blueprint to make this steel mechanical component. And you come in here, you have to look through these because it will show you the different patterns that record different recipes. The one we need is just aluminum, iron, and copper. And we can just slap all that in and make it. So let's just put this down somewhere, I guess right in the center here next to the workbench. And we'll put that there, and to do this, you put the blueprint in, and it shows you the things you can make. So we need 2 steel plates and a copper ingot. We need 2 of these, so let me go make some steel plates, and we can put this together real fast. Alright, so I think I've got everything we need to make it now. So let's go into here, let's go make the steel component, which is 2 steel plates and a copper ingot. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Yep, there we go. And we can make our steel components, that's fine. Then we come in here, need to make the steel casing. I've already made the reinforced blast brick, we already have all the oxygen made, so we just need to go in and pop it in real fast and make it. Okay, now we have a couple steel casings. And then the other thing we have to make is the external heater, which is all pretty easy, and I've already made the copper coil block, because it just requires putting everything in the bunch of copper plates in the work table and just processing it there. So now we have everything, and we can just slap all of this together and put this huge power hog together. So the question kind of becomes, why did we do this? So let's just slap it in the wall somewhere, and I'll show you. Oh good, and there was a power cable there. Let's put it in there. Nice innocuous looking machine. So the main thing we need to use this for right now is to put some redstone in, which fills up this column. It basically acts as a liquid or another stackable component, and then 4 iron, 2, 3, 4. And then we impatiently wait for this to finish, and it makes these enriched alloys. And what we use these enriched alloys for are a lot of the industrial craft stuff. It's used as an alternate material. It's also used for a bunch of stuff in Mekanism itself, especially upgrades, which are super important. And it's also used for, which page is it on? The sieve. So while we have an automated sieve, I want a normal one to be able to do soul sand to try to get gas tiers to work with, to at least get the start with before I try to make an actual farm to get them, just so that we have a starter set of them. And we pretty much have most of these materials, including this mana-infused gear, which sounds scary, but it's just mithril, and I have some mithril in a box somewhere behind us. So we can actually make this. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't need it immediately. I'm going to save that for a little bit yet. But we can also do things like finally make our wind generator using the windmills that we made earlier. So we might get around doing that. That's another source of power we can use. And we have, we no longer have to make these electronic circuits. This is the other thing you can make, are these basic control circuits using redstone and osmium instead of redstone and iron. So that's the main reason we made this. We don't have a ton of power. We can't run a massive batch constantly, but this at least lets us move the ball forward in a pretty significant way. This is actually a pretty big step. This also should have cleared out some quests. So let's open it up and see what we got really fast. So we have some gates open, which, yep, the steel case got us in a mechanism. We will take the, the energy upgrade is probably more important right now. And then let's go into forestry. Yep, I made an impregnated casing, getting prep work done for some stuff and to open up the centrifuge later. But we need to make an apiary first, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And then immersive engineering, yep, the engineer's workbench. And the blueprint that I made for it. And let's see, we probably have the mechanism one open. We probably just have to, yep, click this, hit the configurator, claim that. This is the tool that lets you modify things in Mekanism. kind of like the wrenches do in the other ones, and then the Metallurgic Infuser. Okay. So now we have some chests. Let's go take a look at them. Okay, the first chest is some pistons. This is just one. Okay, it's at least some decent number of pistons, but now that we now have the means to make pistons pretty easy, so that's not big. Corned beef, top tier food, so good food's good. Not going to complain too much about that. Still some things we haven't gotten, like power sources that would have been nice. Resonant servos. This is actually a pain in the butt to make right now, so getting some of those free is actually really nice, because, let's see if we can punch into it to show you how they're made. They require enderium ingots, which requires, a lot of stuff we just don't have right now and can't make. What's the trick? It's the induction smelter, isn't it? Yeah, which requires enderium blend, which requires, the big issue is the resonant ender, memory serves, you have to, yeah, it's complicated and requires a big chain to get, unlike normal thermodynamics. So that's good. That will actually help us empty out things faster if we need to process things faster, like our farm or a tree farm that I might do in a little bit. And the last box. More food, but donuts, so I'm not going to complain about donuts. Sprinkles. Alright, so I've had the Metallurgic Infuser for like 5 minutes now, and I already derailed myself, folks. I took a good look at the windmill again. The windmill was actually super easy to make, so I just made the generators. The big thing was, like, it just required that, a circuit which was the osmium redstone, and then these tool casings, which are just redstone, gold, and iron, all of which I have plenty of. So I just went and, because I already had this, I just made 3 of them real fast. I did test them up top. They generate the same amount of power up there as they do down here, so if they are affected by height, they probably need to be like way up on top of that mountain. So I'm just going to slap them down here and probably put them in their own battery, because they actually generate like a decent amount just passively. Like 360 RF is not bad for no effort. So let's put these down. And I'll go create a new Mekanism battery to put in them, and wire these all up inside to give myself even more power. Alright, so while we're derailed, the next thing we're going to make is the Mekanism Energy Cube that, as you can see, I'm already holding in my hand. And it's not that hard to make, it's more tedious than anything, but it's all easily within our means. So we already had a steel casing made, redstone and iron, and then these energy tablets, which are just more redstone, iron, and gold, which we already have. The energy tablets can be a bit of a pain to make, because every time you craft them, you have to take it out, get it separately, they don't stack, they eat up a lot of inventory space, and you have to reset the crafting pattern every single time because of how they're made. It's kind of tedious, but that's just the reality of how it's made right now. To upgrade it, it's just basically more of the same, though. Toss it back in with 2 more energy tablets and then enriched alloy instead of the redstone, and then osmium instead of iron. And then the pattern basically continues, and this is the diamond version of it. Same sort of thing, and then we come up here and it requires obsidian and another diamond one. We could go higher, I just don't see the point. This is still going to be more power than we generally need right now. So let's go plug it in the wall. So thankfully, by absolute happenstance, I punched down like pretty much directly where I needed this to be, like exactly right, like in this main line right here. I put one too many down. Let's go yank that out. So let's toss the cube in here, and you can see it's already powering up pretty quick. You can see it's filling up its capacity. So we can come in here and configure it, and this is the one we need for this side. It creates the panel right there. You can see that it's connecting. And let's just toss the pipe on it to pull power out of it. And now it's part of our network. And you can see that it's draining power out of here now to go power things over here instead of these ones over here, which are closer. So it's all working exactly the way it's supposed to be, and that's good. And I figured out what was going on with the cube. It's pulling it out of here and tossing it into the cyclic batteries, but that's okay. It's just polish it down the line as it goes. Eventually we'll consolidate these into a bigger capacitor somewhere. But that's fine for now, because this lets us buffer everything up internally from all of our different sources. So that's fine. Alright, so I guess while we're continuing the theme of power overwhelming, we might as well go make the Compression Dynamo so I can solve my creosote issue. So one of the things we needed was the redstone transmission coil, which you make just by a silver ingot and 9 redstone. So that was pretty easy. That's done. That was the major component for that. So let's just slap that together real fast. And the other thing we're going to want to make while we're doing this are the hardened upgrade kit, which we can do pretty easily. That's just bronze and invar. And we would like to go higher, but I would need fused quartz or hardened glass at this point, which I can't easily do without going in deeper into thermodynamics. So let's go throw this around the backside. Alright, so hopefully I have everything I need to actually properly hook this up here. I should just need to add pipes to the back of this, and in theory, because this is further away from that tank than this is, it should hopefully feed into the tank by default and then throw any excess into the dynamo itself. Let's hook that up and then spin it around so it's facing down. There we go. And then it also needs water. I'm going to hope I can just put this infinite water source on top, otherwise I'll have to put a pipe into it. And it worked. And we're burning, and it's slowly burning the creosote and dumping it straight into the power lines now. So this should help fill up the batteries. Well, not those ones, but these ones at least. Nope. So it's generating enough to slowly tick up everything right now. So that's good. It is working. It's slowly burning through our creosote, and now we have enough to hopefully keep these going for a little while. Oh, before I forget, we do need to apply the upgrade. This will increase its capacity, I believe, and the amount of power that it comes out of it. And the amount of power that it can store. So all good things. Yeah, so it's generating 720, which is actually more than it's as much as 2 of our wind generators outside, just consuming byproduct right now, so that's good. Well, folks, I think we made some good progress today, but, you know, another week, another episode that went completely off the rails as I went rogue on my own project. But we got more power going into the base, which is always useful and will actually help us progress through in the next couple of weeks and actually get some more machines made and get us through some more of the automation that we need to do. So it's all good. At least this time I intentionally made the windmills instead of accidentally making them. So, you know. Yeah. And anyways, as always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching and have a good day.